Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is the 1st of August, meaning we have closed a month, and that's always interesting to make a statement there to see where we are. However, it was a fairly quiet day on the US market last night. The top and reversal patterns, they are still intact. We still have this Bear Engulfing, and we still have divergence, massive divergence on the RSI and the MACD. So the top and reversal indication is in place still. We need to close above the Bear Engulfing here to cancel that for higher levels on S&P 500. Nasdaq 100 still. Also a little bit of quiet day. We're back above the rising trend line, but the indication of an correction is in place. And let's see what happens this coming week. We still have some earnings, big names earnings coming out, especially Amazon, that maybe can move the market a little bit in either direction, of course. So let's see where we will end. In Europe, picture is a little bit different. We reached the 138.2 projection of the latest correction here, and where we get a little bit of a correction, not surprisingly, after touching the 16,500 level with a little bit of an inverted hammer. It's not the strongest top and reversal pattern, and the RSI is in bullish sentiment without any divergence, so we could see a move higher after a correction that possibly could take it down to around 16,200, 16,250, around that level before we see buyers coming back in, I suspect. Almost same picture on AX Amsterdam here. I also reached the 138.2, just below 800, but as you can see here on the weekly, there's some resistance around 800, 802, which is also the 1618 projection of this correction we had here in July. So, but we are in a confirmed uptrend, so we should see higher levels on AEX. Same picture, well, bullish at least on the Belgian markets. A little bit of correction mode yesterday, but ended on a good note. I think we will see the Belgian market moving higher and possibly also take out these peaks here from last week towards the 38.50, 38.63 resistance level. CAC40. Also finally higher, and also we finally got the RSI to close above 60, meaning we are also in a bullish sentiment in terms of that. But we have seen higher highs and higher lows, so we are very close to the 138.2 projection before we are retracing a little bit. Very close to the all-time high here at 75.81. I think it could be tested here in the next week or two, possibly. Maybe also making a new high around 7,600, maybe up to 76.20. There is room for it. There's not really much strong resistance, to be honest. On the FX markets, the Euro-dollar can't really rebound that strongly. Now it's testing the rising trend line here again. Could we see another dip down to the 78.6 retracement here at 109.27? Possibly. It's definitely not out of the question. RSI is still positive. It hasn't broken below 40, so we are still in a positive sentiment, and there's no divergence, meaning we should see higher highs on euro-dollar. More or less the same picture on the weekly, but for now it is really struggling to get some upside corrections. And let me just remove that one. But it seems like, for confirmation of that, we need to close about 111.47. Sorry, 111.47. This resistance here, there seems to be some strong resistance. So we could also be range bound here for some time. A lot of times market is not really moving much, and then you have some strong moves. So that's where we are at the moment. It's not the really most exciting of them all. On the dollar index, it's trading above the 61.8 retracement and could move up to 102.41, which is the 786 retracement, where we also have the 55 and the 100 moving average coming down and adding some resistance. Still, RSI below 60 threshold. If it breaks above, then we have a different situation. So it could be next couple of days could be crucial, but we'll still have some really strong overhead resistance around there. So let's see here the next couple of days. Will it collapse again, or can it actually extend its correction and maybe even turn it all around? Jury's still out on that, and we will follow. I will follow it very closely next few days. On the yen pairs, very strong bounce in yen pairs in general. Here we have dollar yen. Very strong bounce as we talked about yesterday, and it's following through. We are close to have the RSI back above 60. It's not there yet, but it has taken out these peaks here. So we should see dollar yen moving up to the 786 retracement at 143.40, where I think we will see a little bit of setback, and then we'll possibly try to take the next move higher. We have the 55 supporting this, we have the 100 supporting this, whereas the 21 needs to turn around a little bit. So possibly we'll have a little bit of correction after hitting the 143.40. The euro yen, also very strong bounce after a heavy selling that ended last week. Very strong bounce back above the rising trend line and testing the 786 retracement. It seems to be a quite crucial or important level for euro yen here at 156.60. It spiked above. I would like to see it close above, and I would like to see RSI closing back above 60 and back above the falling trend line here. Then we will see, almost certain we will see a retest of 158, which is a very strong resistance, very crucial to look at. A close above that, well, then there's certainly room up to 160 plus on that one. Another one that has been quite interesting also, and is Aussie yen. Extremely volatile, but this doesn't really give us any direction. It seems like we have some strong resistance here just below 96. It can't really get above that, so it needs to set back a little bit and maybe then have another go, because RSI is still positive, but it needs to get back above 60 to really get traction, and Aussie yen needs to get back above 96 for upside traction towards 98 and the June peak here. The indicators tells us they will do it. I mean, but it's of course it's not certain. So let's see what happens here the next couple of days. It's really crucial. We could also, for at least a couple of days, be range bound before it will have another go. Also on Aussie dollar, basically range bound between 66 and 69. I think we will test it here in the next couple of days. Let's see, but it can't really find any direction. However, on the weekly, it's still quite heavy. But I would like to see it break below 66 before I say anything more certain about that. Gold spots. Still range bound, as we talked about a couple of times. It seems we will be range bound here between 1940 and 1985-ish level before we see any breakout direction. I want to see that before I make any intelligent guess. I do believe well, and here's an intelligent guess. I do believe we will see a higher level on gold, also testing 2,000. But as you can see, the 55 is still declining, the 100 up, the 200 up, the 21 up. So it tells me it just needs a little bit of time before the next step higher. But again, we could see a correction down to 1930 around the 61.8 retracement. On silver, not really much going on either. Very sideways here around 24.50, between 24 and 25 and a half. However, on copper, suddenly something happened yesterday. broke above the 395 resistance area, and if we zoom out, we can see it seems like a really good pivot level back. It really several times was rejected or found some support. Now we are back above, confirmed uptrend both on the RSI, MACDs, and also higher highs and higher lows. Just above 400, but there should be room up to 415, 420. Finally, oil is still taking a little bit higher towards the 83.50 on the WTI and towards the 87.88 on the Brent. So not much news there. Wheat below 696. I think it could possibly dip down to the 786 retracement at 640. 674.50 level. We still have, I mean, there was divergence on the RSI, it's still intact, but it's still also in a bullish sentiment. So it's like, it's not really convincing anyway. So maybe we'll just see some really sideways trading. But if it starts moving below the 55 moving average and the 786 retracement, well, then we are looking back at here at the 641 lows. And to round it off, we are looking at the US 10-year Treasury yield. Got rejected here at just above 4%, which is 786 retracement. A little bit of setback, but I think we will see another move higher to test the previous peak here just below 410. All right, that's all for today, and I will be back tomorrow with more technical trends. And remember, I have a technical analysis webinar at 1 p.m. CET, Copenhagen time, today, where I will dig deeper into some of these markets. All right, thank you very much.